The spaceport of Clysia Prime never slept. It was a place of noise, flashing lights, and the constant hum of ships coming and going. Aliens of every kind walked its glass corridors, some with scales, others with wings, some glowing like fire, and others wrapped in shadow. But among them, the humans stood out, not because they were the strongest or smartest, but because they were the newest. And they never gave up. Commander Elias Rain, a Terran soldier in diplomatic uniform, stepped off the Earth delegation shuttle. His boots echoed on the polished floor as he looked around the station. He was tall, muscular, with a short buzz cut and sharp gray eyes. His face held the calm of a man who had seen too many wars and survived them all. Clysia Prime was neutral ground, didn't belong to any one race. Instead, it was where the Galactic Conclave met a powerful alliance of alien empires that decided the laws of the stars. Earth had recently earned a seat at the table, but barely. Most older species didn't trust humans yet. Elias didn't care. He wasn't here to impress them. He was here to protect Earth's future. High above the main hall floated a balcony lined with silver vines and glowing crystals. Watching from behind the shimmering glass was Princess Virelia of the Solari, Dominion. Her skin shimmered like starlight, soft gold with patterns that shifted as she moved. Her eyes were pure white, glowing softly eyes that saw more than just light. The Solari were psychic, able to feel thoughts and emotions. And Virelia was more than a princess. She was the heir to the Solari throne, daughter of King Altharion. Ruler of an empire that stretched across 500 star systems, she had watched many diplomats come and go. Most were proud, careful, and spoke with cold voices. But this human was different. When Elias looked around, he wasn't trying to look important. He was simply curious, interested, alive. That caught her attention. Later that evening, during the welcome ceremony, the Grand Hall of Unity was filled with glowing banners and alien music. Delegates mingled, discussed politics, exchanged greetings. In many languages, Elias stood alone by the edge of the hall, holding a small glass of golden drink he didn't recognize. He didn't talk much. He wasn't trained for speeches, he was trained for war. Someone had to represent Earth. Then, without warning, a soft voice entered his mind. It's not through his ears, but directly calm, melodic, and kind. "You are Elias Rain, soldier of Earth, war hero of the Titan conflict?" He turned sharply. Standing beside him, tall and graceful, was Princess Virelia. She was more beautiful in person than he had imagined, but it wasn't her looks that stunned him. It was the feeling of calm she brought. It's like peace itself had. Walked into the room. "I didn't expect telepathy," Elias said. "Usually people start with hello," Virelia smiled. "Then allow me to try again." She spoke aloud this time, her voice soft but strong. "Hello, Commander Rain," he smiled back. "Better."
Oh.
Over the next several weeks, Elias and Virelia met many times, first in public, then in private. At first their meetings were casual. Discussions about Earth's history, the Solari's ancient culture, the politics of the Conclave. Something deeper formed. Elias was honest, even when it was risky, spoke his mind. He wasn't afraid to ask hard questions. Virelia found his presence refreshing. He didn't play games, and he listened. Virelia, in turn, shared things no human had ever heard. About the Solari mental network, the weight of royal duty, and the cold, empty rituals of her life. She told him she had never known true choice. Her path had been chosen since birth, but Elias never pitied her. He simply treated her like a person, not a princess. One night, as they stood by a window watching the twin moons rise over Clysia Prime, Virelia finally asked the question that had been growing between them. "Do you believe two people from such different worlds can truly understand each other?" Elias didn't answer right away. Then he said, "We already do. That's why it scares them." Word of their closeness began to spread. First it was just whispers. Then came warnings from both sides. The Human Council told Elias to keep his distance. The Solari nobles told Virelia her behavior was a threat to tradition, but they kept meeting, quietly, carefully, until one day Virelia disappeared. No warning, no message. Gone. Elias searched. He tried using diplomatic channels, spoke to allies, even tried sending messages through secret contacts. But the Solari had sealed their borders. No communication was allowed, not with him. Something was wrong then. Weeks later, a hidden message reached him through a rogue trader, a hologram. Grainy and flickering, but real. It was Virelia. Her face was tired, her hair unbraided, but her eyes still glowed. Elias, I'm safe, but I can't return. There is something I must protect now, something precious, something, part of both of us. His heart stopped. She was pregnant. With his child, far from Clesia Prime, deep in the Nabari Nebula, Virelia lay in a simple shelter on a quiet moon. Loyal Solari healers guarded her. Outside, no light touched the sky, only mist and silence. And in her arms, she held a tiny baby boy. His skin was soft like hers, but held a pink tone, like human warmth. His hair was dark, his hands strong, but when he opened his eyes, they glowed pure. White, just like hers. He was both, human and Solari. His name was Kalen. Virelia smiled down at him, tears in her eyes. She had given up everything, her throne, her home, her future, to protect this child. But she would do it all again. Because Kalen wasn't just a baby. He was hope. Back on the Solari capital, news of the child finally reached the throne. When King Altherian heard, his fury shook the stars. My daughter has given birth to a hybrid, a half-human creature. This is not a child. It is a threat. He saw Kalen not as family, but as his stain, a symbol of weakness, of corruption. The Solari had always believed in purity of mind and blood. Their empire was built on it. The idea that their race was the most evolved, the most perfect. Now that belief had been shattered by a human, and Altherian would not allow it. He stood before the galactic conclave, voice echoing across star systems. Humanity has defiled our future. For this insult I declare war. In the cold shadows of the Nabari Nebula, the small moon of Velmyra remained hidden. Its surface was covered in silver dust, and its sky never saw a sunrise. Only stars blinked in the distance, quiet and far away. But inside a small stone shelter, built by Solari rebels, a miracle had happened. Princess Virelia sat in silence, holding her newborn son close to her chest. She had named him Kalen, which meant light born in darkness in the ancient Solari tongue. He slept peacefully, unaware of the chaos his birth had caused across the galaxy. Kalen was different. His eyes glowed pure white, just like his mother's, but his heartbeat was strong and fast, like a human's. He was not just a blend of two species, he was something new. Virelia's loyal nurse. Helen whispered, "He is beautiful, my lady. But if the king finds him—" "I know," Virelia said softly, brushing her fingers across Kellen's tiny hand. "That is why we must stay hidden, until the time is right." Back on the Solari homeworld of Zephyros, the Golden Throne Room was filled with anger. King Altherian, ruler of the Solari Dominion, stood tall in his armor of light. His long white hair flowed behind him, his glowing crown pulsed with power. "A child born of filth and betrayal," he shouted. "A human seed and royal blood. This is not just an insult, it is an attack on our way of life." His generals and nobles remained silent. None dared speak against him. "The humans must be punished," Altherian said. "We welcome them into our stars, and now they repay us with this shame. I will not allow it." He turned to his high commander. "Prepare the fleet. We will burn their cities and crush their spirit. Earth will learn what happens to those who pollute Solari blood." Just like that, the war began. News spread quickly across the galaxy. Humanity, still young in space, was shocked. Earth's leaders demanded answers, but the Solari offered only silence and attacks. Spaceports near Mars were bombed. A science colony on Europa was destroyed. Thousands died in the first week. On Earth, panic spread. The Global Defense Council called on its best commanders. And in the middle of it all was Commander Elias Rain. He had returned to Earth weeks ago after failing to find Virelia. But now, after learning the truth that she had given birth to his son, he felt a new fire. inside him. He stood in the war room, staring at a holomap of the solar system. "They're targeting our communication lines," Elias said, "cutting off colonies one by one." General Marcus, his old superior, shook his head. "We can't match their firepower. Their ships are faster, stronger, and their shields are almost unbreakable." "We don't need to match them," Elias said. "We need to outthink them." He stepped forward. "Give me a team. Small, fast. Let us strike from the shadows. We hit their weak points. We steal their tech. We learn." Marcus raised an eyebrow. "You want to fight gods with a pocket knife?" "No," Elias said. "But I want to fight gods like a human." In a hidden military base under the Rockies, Elias formed Task Force Chimera. It was made of elite soldiers, hackers, engineers, and spies. People who had lost families to the Solari attacks. People who had nothing left to fear. They studied Solari weapons, found cracks in their systems, and began planning strikes. In weeks, they destroyed 3 enemy supply ships and hijacked a Solari stealth cruiser. For the first time, humans were fighting back, and somewhere across the stars, Kalen was growing. On Valmyra, Kalen was now 2 months old. He laughed often, and his laughter was like music. But sometimes, strange things happened. Lights flickered. When he cried, animals gathered around the house. And once when Varelia fell and hurt her hand, Kalen reached out and the wound healed instantly. Tellen watched in awe. "My lady, he is not normal." "No," Varelia whispered. "He is more, he is the bridge. The bridge between 2 worlds." One night, while holding Kalen near the fire, Varelia felt something strange, a sudden pressure in her mind. At first, she thought it was an attack, but then she realized it was Kalen. He had reached into her mind, not with fear, but with love. She saw his thoughts, felt his joy, his curiosity, his dreams, and then she felt something else. Dozens of minds all around them, touched by the same pulse. Kellen's mental energy had spread outward, touching sleeping minds across the nearby systems, not to harm them, but to connect. It was a wave of pure emotion. Went across the stars. Solari, who had once hated humans, began to question. On Zephyros, a Solari scientist named Erlon, once loyal to the king, woke in the middle of the night. Sweating, he had seen Vicenza, a child with glowing eyes, smiling at him. A child of peace. "I must find the truth," he said aloud, and he was not alone. Dozens of Solari, touched by Kellen's unconscious psychic wave, began to turn. They spoke in whispers. Doubt grew in secret rooms. The royal message of purity was weakening. Meanwhile, the war burned on. Earth's orbital defense grid was damaged. Entire cities were under lockdown. But for every loss, Task Force Chimera struck harder. Elias and his team hacked Solari AI systems, learning how their fleets coordinated through psychic beacons. He sent encrypted messages to old allies, calling on rebel groups across the stars. Small human ships began to appear in unexpected places, planting bombs, rescuing prisoners, stealing data. Humanity was outgunned, but not outwitted. One night, after a successful mission on Titan's surface, Elias sat alone, holding a small hala of Varelia. It had been weeks since he saw her face in that hidden message. He didn't even know if she was alive, but something inside him whispered. She is, and so is the child. He would find them. He had to. In the throne room of Zephyros, King Altharion was growing desperate. Reports of disloyalty among his people reached him daily. Scientists questioning orders, generals hesitating, rumors of a child with Solari light and human will spreading like wildfire. "This cannot be," he growled. "My own daughter has cursed our people." He ordered a secret strike team, Project Silent Storm, an elite Solari squad with one mission: find the child, kill it, and erase every trace. Back on Valmyra, Varelia sensed the danger approaching. She held Kalen close and whispered, "They are coming for you, my love, but I will not let them take you." She activated a hidden beacon, a signal meant only for one person in the entire galaxy, a human, a soldier, a father. The stars above Earth were no longer peaceful. Warships hovered like dark clouds in space. Giant Solari destroyers blocked sunlight, casting shadows over the planet below. Earth's defense systems were damaged, and fears spread like wildfire. But humanity did not give up. In the underground command center beneath Alaska, Commander Elias Rain stood beside a glowing map. Red dots blinked enemy positions. Blue ones Earth's last strongholds. The room smelled of oil, smoke, and coffee. Officers barked orders. Screens flashed warnings. "Sir," a young tech officer called. "We've picked up a signal. Encrypted. Very old code." Elias turned fast. "From where?" "Sector 9J. It's coming from deep in the Nabari Nebula." Elias stepped closer, his heart pounding. "Put it on screen." The message was short, just one line. "He's in danger. Come quickly." And a signature of Aurelia. Elias didn't wait. He didn't ask permission. He gathered his best team hackers, pilots, soldiers, and one psychic translator. Took off in a stolen Solari stealth cruiser called Ghostblade. Their destination, Valmyra. A dead moon that didn't exist on most maps. On board, Elias sat alone in the small command room. He stared at a small hollow picture of Aurelia, her smile, her glowing eyes. The memory of her voice saying his name, he clenched his fists. "I'm coming for you and for him." Meanwhile, on Valmyra, danger had already arrived. The wind screamed across the dusty ground. Black Solari ships landed like hunting birds. From their sides stepped tall figures in black armor. They moved without speaking, no emotion, no mercy. They were the silent storm, the king's secret assassins. Trained to destroy without question, in the small shelter, Princess Varelia stood. At the door, holding a weapon made of Solari crystal. Behind her, Kaelin slept inside a protective pod, glowing softly. Her nurse, Tellin, whispered, "We can't fight them all, my lady." "I don't have to," Varelia replied. "I just need to delay them, ... until he arrives." The first attackers broke through the walls using heat lances. The shelter shook. Varelia fought with speed and grace, her weapon slicing through the air like light. Her psychic powers pushed enemies back, making their heads spin, but there were too many. Outside, one of the assassins raised a long black cannon aimed at the shelter. Just then a bright flash. The cannon exploded in his hands. From above, Ghostblade landed with a roar. Ramp open. Guns firing. Elias jumped out first, rifle in hand, fire in his eyes. "Step away from my family," he shouted. The battle was fierce. Elias and his team fought like demons. Aurelia moved beside him. "Back to back?" She smiled through the blood and smoke. "I knew you'd come," she said. "I told you," Elias replied, reloading. "You're not getting rid of me that easy." The Ghostblade's weapons helped clear the field. Slowly, the silent storm was pushed back. One by one, the assassins fell. The last tried to escape, but was caught by Elias's sniper and dropped into the dust. Silence returned, and Kaelin, still sleeping, still glowing. Later that night, inside the shelter, Elias finally saw his son. He stepped slowly to the pod. Varelia pressed a hand on the glass, and it opened with a soft hiss. Kaelin looked up at him with glowing white eyes and smiled. Elias froze. He dropped to his knees. "He has your eyes," he whispered. Varelia knelt beside him. "Your courage." Elias reached out, touched his son's small hand. Kaelin giggled and touched back. At that moment, something strange happened. Elias saw a vision, not a memory, not a dream, a vision of the future. He saw Earth and Zephyros, not at war but. Side by side, he saw Kaelin standing tall, speaking to millions. Around him, humans and Solari stood in peace. He saw the galaxy healing. Then it was gone. He looked at Varelia, shocked. She nodded. "Kellen's power is growing, showing us... ... What could be?" Elias stood up. "And we have to protect him. He's more than just a boy." "Yes," Varelia said. "He's hope." Back on Zephyros, King Altharion received the bad news. Silent storm. "Failed," he hissed. A nervous messenger nodded. Yes, my lord. The child survived. The human, ... is with him, Altharian screamed. His voice shattered nearby crystal panels. This ends now. He ordered the largest Solari fleet, the Starburn Armada, to attack Earth directly, burn their planet, kill the traitor daughter, erase the child. The galaxy held its breath. On Earth, alarms screamed. Satellites caught the incoming armada. It was the largest fleet ever recorded. General Marcus looked at the screen in horror. We can't stop that, Elias. Now back in orbit with Varelia. And Kalen sent a message to every human station. This is Commander Rain. We don't run. Not now. Not ever. We fight. He turned to Varelia. We have one chance. We let Kalen connect to the Solari network. Let him speak not with words, but with feelings. Varelia hesitated. He's only a child. He's more than that. You've seen it. I've felt it. Let him try. She nodded slowly. Then let's give the galaxy a reason to believe. As the Armada reached Earth's orbit, Kalen was brought to the center of the Ghostblade. A special chamber built from both human tech and Solari crystal was activated. He was placed inside, glowing stronger than ever, and then he opened his eyes. Across the stars, Solari minds were touched by something powerful. At first, just a whisper, then a wave. Motions flooded the network. Joy, love, sadness. Hope. Soldiers dropped their weapons. Generals stopped mid-command, even far away. King Altharian gasped, clutching his chest. Impossible. He whispered. Kellen's energy reached the hearts of millions. In their minds they saw the truth, not lies, not fear, but unity. For the first time in thousands of years, Solari felt human emotions. They wept and chose peace. The Starburn Armada stopped, one by one. Ships turned away. Commanders refused to follow the king's orders. The fleet broke apart. Earth was saved not by war, but by a child of 2 sons. King Altharian stood alone in the center of his dark throne room. His long silver cloak dragged behind him like a dying comet. The golden crown on his head no longer glowed, it pulsed weakly, as if afraid of what was coming. He looked out over the empty hall. Once the chamber had been filled with noble Solari warriors and proud generals, but now it was silent. Most of them had left him. They had seen the child. They had felt the wave of light from Kalen, his grandson, and they had changed. This is treason, Altharian whispered, though no one was there to hear. Own blood, ... my daughter, my people. He reached out, grabbing the edge of the throne. If they won't listen, then I'll make them listen. Far above Earth, inside the Solari human ship, Ghostblade. The crew was celebrating. News had spread quickly. The Starburn Armada had stopped. Thousands of Solari ships had refused the order to attack Earth. Entire squadrons were turning back. Some even opened communication with human commanders, asking for peace talks. Humanity had survived because of one child, Selene. In the command room, Commander Elias Rain watched a live feed of Earth cities lighting up with hope. Fireworks exploded in the night sky. People danced in the streets. Soldiers hugged each other. Some wept. He felt a hand on his shoulder. It was Varelia, her white eyes soft. You gave them something to believe in, she said. Elias shook his head. No, he did. They both turned to look through the glass window. Inside a peaceful chamber, Kalen slept, glowing gently. Not just a child now, but a symbol, a bridge. But peace was not complete. In the darkness of space, far from Earth, the royal flagship Vortexion drifted alone. It was the last of the king's personal fleet. Inside, Altharian was preparing his final plan, his last weapon. He entered a forbidden chamber deep beneath his ship. The room was filled with humming energy and strange symbols carved into black walls. In the center stood a machine ancient, forgotten even by the Solari historians. The Crown Engine, it had been banned long ago. It could force-link every Solari mind across the stars. Turn them into a single mind, ruled by one voice. His voice. Altharian stepped forward and placed his hand on the glowing panel. If my people choose weakness, then I will choose control. The machine came to life. Back on the Ghost Blade, Elias was reviewing new reports from across the galaxy. Allies are forming fast, said LT Rami, his tech expert. Solari rebel ships want to meet. Some are sending over tech. Good, Elias nodded. We'll need every advantage. Varelia rushed into the room. Something is wrong. Elias stood.
Happened.
It's Kalan. His mind. Something's hurting him. They ran to the child's chamber. Kalen was twisting in his sleep, glowing unevenly. Energy pulsed from his body in sharp waves. Sparks flew from the walls. Then his eyes shot open. Pure white light filled the room and he screamed. Hundreds of Solari crossed the stars, collapsed at the same moment. Scientists, soldiers, pilots, they held their heads and cried out, "The king, he's pulling our minds." The message reached Ghostblade instantly. He's activating something big, said LT Rami. A mind control system? Can he really do that? Varelia's face went pale. The crown engine. I thought it was destroyed. Elias turned to her. What is it? It links all Solari minds into one, she said. It destroys emotion, freedom will. Makes them like machines empty. Elias clenched his jaw. Then we destroy it. Where is he? She touched her wrist screen. Last signal. Deep space. You're the ruins of planet Ethon. Let's go, Elias said. The Ghostblade raced through hyperspace, followed by 5 Solari rebel ships and 2 Earth cruisers. This strange alliance of former enemies now flew side by side toward one mission. Stop the king. Save the galaxy. Inside the ship, Kalan rested under careful watch. His body was still, but his mind was fighting. Varelia sat beside him, whispering ancient Solari songs. Her voice was soft, calm, even though her heart was heavy. He's strong, Elias said, joining her. He's still just a child. She said he shouldn't have to carry all this. But he's not alone, Elias said. He has us. The fleet arrived at the broken orbit of planet Ethon. Once a mighty Solari capital, now a graveyard. Millions of shattered stones floated. In space, silent memories of a forgotten war, and in the center, the royal flagship Vortex Ion. Elias gave the order. Move in. Full stealth. The Ghostblade slipped past floating debris, hiding behind dead moons and asteroids. Inside, Varelia worked with rebel Solari engineers to scan for weak points in the crown engine. It's buried deep, she said, but we might be able to overload the core. Can we get close enough? Elias asked. We'll have to. The attack began fast. The rebel fleet launched fake strikes on the Vortexian's outer shields. While the king's last loyal guards defended the front, the Ghostblade sneaked in from below. Elias led the infiltration team. Varelia Kalen, in a protective stasis pod, and 2 Solari mindshielders joined him. They cut through the ships. Underbelly racing toward the crown engine room, but Altharion was waiting. He appeared like a ghost, his crown burning with dark energy, so he sneered, the traitor daughter, the filthy human, and the monster child. Elias raised his gun. Step aside. You think love is stronger than power? Altharion roared. You're insects. He raised his hand, and the walls came alive. Metal tendrils lashed out. Solari guards rushed. In that, the battle began. Elias fought with pure rage, covering Varelia and the pod. Laser fire lit up the dark halls. Varelia used her psychic force to push enemies back, but more kept coming. Kellen's pod was hit. A crack formed in the glass. Light began to leak out. Varelia screamed, "No!" Suddenly the pod shattered. Kalen floated upward, awake, glowing brighter than ever. His eyes locked onto his grandfather. "Stop," the child said. Altharion froze. "You cannot control love," Kalen said. "You cannot kill light." And then it happened. Kalen reached out, his small hand glowing with warm energy. A wave of light exploded through the ship, but this was not a weapon. It was healing. Every Solari mind inside the ship was freed from the engine's control. Guards dropped their weapons, confused, awake. Even Altharion stumbled back, clutching his head. "No, I am the king." Kellen's voice echoed. "No, you are afraid." The light surrounded Altharion, showing him his past, his fears, his pride, his loneliness, and finally his failure. He fell to his knees. The crown rolled from his head and cracked open. It was over. Back aboard the Ghostblade. Silence filled the ship. Kalen slept peacefully once more. The crown engine was destroyed. The war ended. Across the galaxy, humans and Solari began working together in a quiet ceremony on the new moon Unity 1. Elias Varelia and Kalen stood before leaders of both species. Varelia spoke. "The crown is broken. Let there be. No more kings. Only peace." Kalen raised his hand, and a symbol formed in the arrow ring of stars joined by light. And the crowd cheered. The galaxy was no longer the same. The war was over. The tyrant king Altharion was gone. His crown, once a symbol of fear, now lay in the ruins of a forgotten ship. And from that ruin something beautiful had begun. On the new moon Unity 1, humans and Solari walked side by side. It had been only 6 months since the final battle, but already the change could be felt across the stars. Ships no longer flew in silence or suspicion, they flew with trade, peace, and even laughter. At the center of this peace was a small boy. With glowing white eyes, his name was Kalon. On a wide, green field outside the city of Novaterra, Kalon ran barefoot, chasing a flock of glowing birds. His laugh echoed through the hills. The sky above him was filled with soft clouds and flying ships. He looked like any child. But he was not. Inside him lived something more, something that connected all living beings, something that healed pain and gave others hope. He was born of 2 worlds, and now he belonged to both. From a distance, Commander Elias Rain watched him play. He smiled, though his hand still rested on his old sidearm. "Just in case you still don't trust peace," said a voice behind him. He turned. It was Varelia, wearing a long silver robe, her hair braided with Solari symbols. Elias smiled. "Trust peace. I just don't trust how long it'll last." Varelia stepped beside him. "Then we build it stronger, together." They watched Kalen chase a bird that turned into light and flew off into the sky. "He's not just a symbol anymore," Elias said quietly. "He's becoming something else." "Yes," Varelia replied. "He's becoming what we were always meant to be." But not all hearts were healed. Far away, deep in the system of Karnak 7, a secret council gathered around a cold round table. Sat leaders of species who had remained silent during the war. Some feared the rise of Solari human unity. Others wanted power for themselves. A tall, insect-like creature, the Zither Prime, spoke first. "Letting a child decide the future of the galaxy is madness," the reptilian warlord hissed. "The boy is dangerous. His power is spreading. We've heard rumors he can control minds." Another added, "If we wait too long, he'll grow stronger. Then no one can stop him." Duh. The Zither Prime slammed a sharp claw on the table. "Then we must act." Now, a shadowy plan began. Back on Unity 1, Kalen sat with a group of Solari and human children, teaching them how to move small objects using only their minds. It wasn't magic, it was connection. It's feeling the life around them. One boy struggled to lift a pebble. Kalen smiled and touched his hand. "Don't try so hard, just listen." The pebble rose gently into the air. The boy gasped. "I did it." "You felt it," Kalen said. "That's all." As the class ended, a strange feeling touched Kellen's mind. Cold, distant, like something watching. He turned to the sky. "Something's coming," he whispered. That night, Elias was called to the control tower. Unidentified ships entered Unity 1 space, the officer reported. No transponders, no signals. Elias squinted at the radar. Stealth tech could be. "They're circling the far side of the moon. Sound the alert. Move Kalen to the underground shelter. Now." Varelia arrived minutes later. "What is it?" "Enemies," Elias said. "Old ones. And they've come for him." Kalen didn't resist when soldiers came for him. He simply looked at the stars and whispered, "They're afraid." Virelia hugged him tight. "They don't understand you." "I know," Kalen said. "But I want to help them." "Help enough by surviving," Elias said, checking his blaster. "Stay low, we'll handle the rest." But Kalen shook his head. "I have to go to them." Elias stepped forward. "No, too dangerous." "I'm not a weapon," Kalen said. "I'm the answer. If I hide, they'll keep fearing me. If I show them truth, maybe they'll stop." Elias looked at Virelia. She nodded slowly. Let the child decide. The next morning, under the rising twin suns, Kalen walked alone into the landing field. Dozens of strange alien warriors had surrounded it. Ships hovered above, ready to fire. A tall alien stepped forward, the Zither Prime. "So, Starchild comes willingly." Kalen stood calmly. "I came to talk." "Are too dangerous," Zither hissed. "You twist minds. You change hearts. That is not peace, it's domination." "No," Kalen said. "It's understanding." Zither raised his weapon. "Die now, before you become a god." He fired. The blast hit Kalen, but instead of burning, disappeared into light. Kalen raised his hands, and a wave of memory hit every alien present in their minds. They saw visions, their homeworlds, their children, their pain, their fear, their dreams, all shared in a single instant. They dropped their weapons. Some fell to their knees. One whispered, "He showed me my mother. She died when I was a child." Another cried, "I saw my planet. I haven't been home in decades." Kalen lowered his hands. "I don't want to rule," he said. "I want to remind you what you've forgotten." The alien army left Unity 1 without a fight. Kalen didn't destroy them, healed them. Weeks later, in front of a crowd of millions, humans and Solari alike, Kalen gave his first speech. He stood on a floating platform surrounded by light. "I was born in a war," he said. "My mother was a Solari princess. My father, a human soldier. They were supposed to hate each other, but they chose love." The crowd listened silently. "I am not here to lead. I am not here to control. I am here to remind you we are not different, we are one." He held out his hand, and a symbol appeared above him. A star inside a circle of light. This is the future, not ruled by fear, but built on understanding. The crowd roared. Elias watched from the side, a proud smile. On his face, Virelia stood beside him, her eyes wet with tears. "He did it," she whispered. Elias nodded. "Yeah, he really did." Far beyond the edge of the galaxy, a new signal pulsed from Unity 1, a beacon of peace. Open to all species, the age of war had ended, and the age of light had begun, because one boy, born of two worlds, had reminded the stars, that even in darkness, hope always returns.